I was one who really supported President Morsi when he was elected freely. And I even went to his website, Facebook, and many times tried to try to just tell him how Egypt is really about all of anything in his opinion. Love Egypt and use it. Unfortunately, what I saw that in the last year is exactly the opposite of what all the respected people here were saying about democracy.
So if you'd like to direct a question towards them, that would be great.
Exactly, because this democracy which they are talking about wasn't in Egypt, not the Egypt which was run by Morsi and his regime for the last year. It didn't include, as he said, all Egyptians.
So I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time phrasing the question.
Yes.
So then you're directing
Yes.
the question at the representatives coming from Egypt, and you're asking them to speak on how inclusive they view
Exactly.
Dr. Morsi's government as having been
Exactly.
versus
The torture
coup
they're
that-
talking about
Okay.
the people in
I'm going
Egypt.
to
How
call-
about the torture?
I'm going to call Dr. Zadidi. He's FGP representative, and he's from Egypt, and he can speak directly to that.
Also the torture of people they're talking about. How about the torture of the Copts and the women in Egypt, which was carried by the Muslim brother?
And Dr.
Thank
Zadidi
you.
will speak to that.
Thank you, Brother Michael, for asking this question. We in Egypt respect all Muslims, Christians, men and women, old and young. I am a representative. I am a representative of lots. Majority of lots of cities is Christian.
It's not debate.
Majority of Egyptians living in Luxor are Christians, and they voted me in. The relationship between, as a Muslim, as an Egyptian, we've had the best relation for the past 1400 years. Compare the relationship in Egypt between Muslims and Christians and many other countries in the world. You will find Egyptian model is one of the best models on the face of the earth. And we will continue doing this. I am willing to do, as a parliamentarian, whatever it takes for any Christian, for any Muslim, for any men or women, if they are under oppression from any side. I will stand with them. I represent them in the parliament. I visit the churches of Luxor many times. And I am willing to keep the visits, build the bridges of understanding. In fact, when I visited the largest church in Luxor, I invited the leadership, let us have young Muslims and young Christians to form a soccer match, let them meet together, let them talk together. We are suffering from the policies of the ex-regime. The ex-regime, and I call upon my brothers and my sisters, the Christian brothers and sisters, the ex-regime was very skillful in playing us against one another. Let us not fall into this trap. We have a great future for all Egyptians. President Morsi and his government try to be as inclusive as possible in a transitional stage. It is a myth that the Freedom and Justice Party controlled the government. We had no more than 10 or so ministers out of 38. Out of the 27 government, we had about 12 governors, and the rest, we would really like to have all Egyptians. Because this is an Egyptian cause. President Morsi was not elected by anyone else but the Egyptian, and he will have to serve the Egyptian needs. If he does not, there is another election, we can move him out. And this is the Egyptian way. Thank you.
May I follow up, please? Excuse me, please. No, follow up. Follow up, please.
Our conference ends at 10:30, so we're looking at another 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and take the
Can I say
questions
something?
behind
What he said was just
There are so many forums. I'd like for everyone to know there are forums where these debates can take place about the way that the government, this one or the previous one, has handled itself. So I'm going to go ahead and take the question. Please
Can
identify
one person
yourself.
answer that? Like, we do not belong to any party. We would like to answer him, please. if you don't mind. We do not belong to the Muslim Brotherhood, and we wanted to answer the question.
Could I please take the question from the media professional, and you guys, I will give you a chance to do so, because it's not a forum for debate, but I will.
It's not a debate. He asked a question, and would like one of us
I
to
will,
answer.
I'd like to take the
Allow her
question
to
from her, and then from you, and then we'll move forward.
Amanda Shankar, I'm with the Investigative Project. My question is directed at Mr. Nadi, Mr. Shakir Saeed. And, I noticed that a lot of the organizations that were part of this forum, they are, the Muslim American Society and the American Muslim Alliance, and also the EADHR, which is headed by Mr. Hani Sakar. And according to evidence that was introduced in the Hamas financing trial of the Holy Land Foundation, a lot of these groups were connected to the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States. So I just want to know from the speakers if that is correct, and whether this is a forum where members of the American Muslim Brotherhood are rallying in support of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. Thank you.
Basically, the Universal Justice Foundation is 100% American organization. It has nothing to do with the Muslim Brotherhood. It serves to defend anybody who falls wrongly under wrong accusation by the government. We stand to offer legitimate defense, to give the people the right for a fair trial. That's what we stand for. We have nothing to do with the Muslim Brotherhood or anybody else. We stand for justice, and the issue in this conference is about justice, freedom, and democracy. This is not about the Muslim Brotherhood. It is not even about Dr. Morsi. Dr. Morsi happened to be from the Brotherhood, but it could have been anybody else. If we allow the rule of law to be broken and the democratic rules to be violated, it will happen to anybody, and Egypt will never have stability, progress, investment, or a future. So we have nothing to do with your claims.
On the Muslim American Society, she mentioned, again, the Muslim American Society is a grassroots American organization. However, we are very proud, very, very proud of our friendship with the Muslim Brotherhood, the Christian Brotherhood, and the Jewish Voice for Justice and for Peace. There's nothing wrong to have a relationship, friendly relationship, with other organizations across the world. We cherish peaceful coexistence. I think the brotherhoods have shown a very much civilized behavior compared to the others. They have respected the democratic process, whereas those who claim to be liberals and to be secular have shown completely an outrageous behavior of violence, of undemocratic rules, and therefore, if this is what the Muslim Brotherhood is all about, we look forward to strengthen that relationship, and we are here to strengthen the relationship with every peace-loving and democratically respected views. So that should go on note. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing that. I'm going to take your question. Please identify yourself.
Thank you. I am Dr. Assam Abdullah Skandar at Shams University, and I am a writer in EADHR newspaper. The first, happy Eid al-Fitr. كل سنة وانتم طيبين جميعا أهلنا المسلمين. The first question. I see in the documentary only the use of the Muslim Brotherhood. Where is the difference? Where is the context?
Perfect. So I think that your question lines up with
the second
question, so I'm going to let that allow.
The second question. What about the revolution of Egypt in June 13? What about 35 million
just for the time
people
constraints, I'm going to let up the representatives from the Abbas Square come up and address your question.
Regime.
Okay.
What about 35 million people? You see now about
I'm going to let them come up and
Two
address your
squares in
question.
English.
I'm going to let them up and
Thank
come
you.
address your question.
Thank you.
Media question. Media question.
You gotta meet, please. Please go.
Yes, hello. My name is J.P. Carroll. I'm here on behalf of Reporters Without Borders. My question would be directed, if possible, to Dr. Abdul Magood Dardari of the Freedom of Justice Party. It's with regards to press freedom during the presidency of Dr. Morsi, and also now that there's military rule. What does he think, and also anyone else is also welcome to answer the question, what does he think needs to be done to increase press freedom? What could have been done differently under Dr. Morsi about press freedom that, if he's restored to power, will occur now? And also, yes, just what can be done to improve media
I
relations?
think I'll let them answer, so they go hand in hand, and I will let Dr. Dindi follow. Thank you.
I'd just like to answer the first question that was presented just a minute ago. I'm a witness. I have been sitting in Rabaa for over a month now. I just came actually recently here to Washington, D.C. And I can assure you, sir, that maybe, and this is exaggerated, 10% of the people that are in Rabaa are affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. I myself, and I am in the documentary that you're speaking about, I'm not a Muslim Brotherhood member, neither are any of the people who are in this documentary. We are simply people who are there trying to defend our democracy. It is not rocket science to tell someone that when your democracy is stolen, you have to go in and fight for it. You don't have to be part of the party that has been ousted, but you just have to be a freedom fighter and a fighter for democracy. Many and many of the people that are in Rabaa Square, including those of the April 6th movement, who have publicly claimed their disliking of the Brotherhood, have come out and they have talked on the stage in Rabaa Square. We are not the Muslim Brotherhood members, we are democracy fighters. Thank you.
I'd also like to add a comment as to the question that he also asked. You just said 35, we're at 35 million against Morsi. Well, actually, the 35 million is not true. It has been proven. It has been mathematically proven. It's true. It's been mathematically proven. CNN. CNN never admitted it. Okay, I'm not arguing.
Excuse me, sir. We're not debating.
Yeah, we're not debating. But anyways, many different people have done the mathematical calculations. It's not rocket science as well. The capacity of the streets that where people were headed shows that maximum 4 million people took to the streets, maximum. And also, I would also like to say that some people say that Egypt's not ready for democracy. When you look at the people on the streets in Rabaa Square, it's not cheap. Democracy is not cheap. People in Rabaa Square and another square are ready to pay that price. Thank you.
Sir, I'm going to answer you as well, if you don't mind. I'm going to assume that 35 million were in the street. What about the rest of the 90 million? How can we determine that the people, my word against your word? I'm going to say the people in the homes that didn't go to the street are saying we want Morsi to stay in this position. So the only way we can do it is through democracy, through the ballot boxes. If your word
Dr. Dindi will take the last question regarding press freedom during Dr. Morsi's time, and we will wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for asking this question. I would like to, before I go into the press freedom, I would like to emphasize the fact that the claim that there were 30 million is a lie. And I challenge anyone to bring an evidence for this. June 30th is known to be a conspiracy against democracy, against the will of the Egyptian people. Now to the press freedom. In Egypt, for decades, we never enjoyed freedom of press. Even freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of organization. For your information, there is a law in Egypt. If more than 5 people are found in one place, the authorities can arrest them. So if I'm a family that has 6 people, we cannot walk together in the street. So it is a tragedy. So what happened during Mubarak years, there was unholy alliance between the business community, the politician, and the media outlets. And they tried by all means to bring down the January 25th revolution. And when they failed, they attacked unprofessionally though Dr. Morsi's government and anything that comes. If Morsi says right, they say left. And if Morsi says left, they say right. So that is the challenge that we as Egyptian people, they lie a lot and they coordinate their lies. And you can easily see it on the Egyptian TV. You watch one channel, it says something. The other channel says the same thing. And the third channel says unprofessionally done and claims that are not warranted or qualified. No doubt that we needed more freedom of press. Even during Morsi's time, we do not have professional media. It is going to take us some time until we will be able to listen to one another. That's the challenge. We don't have. Mubarak and the previous leaders of Egypt failed completely to create a democratic culture. We're not even listening to one another. We're just making claims that are not right, and we're not talking to one another right. So media needs to do this. Media needs not to play the role of politicians. Media needs to play the role of watchdogs. And unfortunately, media presenters became the politicians and left seeking the truth. They came with an agenda, and they wanted to push their agenda regardless whether it is right or wrong. The attack on Morsi was unprecedented. During Morsi's time, not a single journalist was put in jail. Look at the number of journalists now put in jail. Not a single journalist was killed. Look at the journalists who were killed during the recent massacres. In fact, there was a law during Mubarak that those who insult the president can easily be fined or even put in jail. President Morsi repealed that law. Unfortunately, it came back after. That's a fact for my Christian brothers. Dictatorship of Mubarak is not the answer. Do not be happy with bringing back the police state. You suffered from the police state. Help us together. We can work it together. As brothers and sisters, as Christians and Muslims, we can do it together. And let us do it together. Let us please, for Jesus' sake, for Muhammad's sake, and for Moses' sake, we can work our differences together. And we have a great history. Don't be happy with the current moment. Think of the past and think for the future. And I challenge anyone, if we're left alone, without outside interference, Muslims and Christians can do a way better job than what is existing now. I am very optimistic that we will be able to work together. I am very optimistic as I have the experience in my Luxor hometown where Christians and Muslims worked together, voted me in as their representative, as a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. They voted me in the parliament willingly to do so. The future is optimistic if we work together for freedom, justice, and the rule of law. And please, do not despise the will of the Egyptian people. Thank you.
All the human rights officers was arrested and detained under Morsi.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. There will be many forums for debate. This was a press conference.
Thank you.
Please take flyers for the event.